So, the vision began with me entering a sort of cult meeting where they were showcasing surveillance technology with great pride. There was a slideshow, and they were just showing how easy it is to keep track of and compartmentalize people. But then somebody at the back of the audience near where I was sitting asked a question. He was like, "Hey, wait a minute. So, but why is my daughter the one that you're showcasing in all of your slides?" And this was true. She was specifically being singled out in all of the slides, and the presenter acted kind of offended, and she was like, "Well, if she wasn't so easy to track, we wouldn't have used her as an example." And then he kind of shifted the topic, and it was like, "By the way, we have a bunch of snacks if you guys want some snacks." And I was like, "Oh, hey, grapes and cookies! I love grapes and cookies." So I went and I grabbed some snacks. But the point is fairly self-explanatory. These people are rolling out very hardcore surveillance efforts, and they're stalking our children and trying to control them, and they're using diversion tactics to make us think about other things. The dream at that point shifted to this room in the cult's temple, like above where the meeting had taken place. The cult or the temple was kind of shaped like a pyramid, and enabled to work your way through the pyramid. There was an idea that there was a bunch of test rooms, and you had to make your way through them, through each of them to get to the next room. So I was in this one particular room, and there was an idea that I hadn't been able to pass through that room before, so I knew what the room was already, and basically the room fills up with slippery soap, and then it tells everyone to fight each other, and the victor gets to make it to the next room. So I entered the room with several angels, was the idea, and the room hadn't yet filled up with soapy water, but there was a bunch of soap residue on the ground from before, and so my guardian angel friend kind of busts out a sponge and starts trying to scrub up all the soapy residue on the ground. She's trying to suggest, maybe the actual solution to the room isn't to fight each other, it's just to clean it and get rid of all this soap. But I kind of saw that what she was doing was futile, and I showed her, hey, that's not quite going to matter, because if you step on this certain panel in the corner of the room, it just floods the whole thing with more soapy water. So trying to clean up the soap and make it less dangerous is a bit of a waste of time. So basically, we just kind of ignored the room telling us to fight each other, and just worked together to get on to the next room. Um, the meaning there is essentially that our collective enemy, who's bent on driving mankind into hatred and insanity, they basically have an endless supply of slippery bullshit to distract us with. So trying to clean all that up isn't as productive as simply moving forward and ignoring it, and just working together in other ways. So those were the two most meaningful scenarios. The dream got a little bit abstract after that. There was a situation where like the angels and I all had headsets on, and it was like reading our minds to tell if we'd passed the test, and we all passed the test and removed the headset except for like the last guy in line, who was a disabled veteran in a wheelchair, and the machine was saying that he couldn't remove the helmet, but it might have actually been because he had like the real solution to the problem, because he immediately pointed out that we were being surveilled by a camera, and we needed to destroy that camera and enable for him to be free. So I helped him like shoot arrows at the camera until we broke it, and then he could remove his headset and move forward with us. I'm not 100% sure if that was like what the specific meaning of that was, but and at that point it got a little bit more abstract. I had to like exit the temple for some reason, and there were outside of the temple on the horizon there were these two super technologically advanced black giant towers with like fluorescent lights flowing all over them, that were basically the twin towers but in like demon cult world. And I was like, oh, I never noticed those were right outside of this cult pyramid before. That's weird. And then after a minute, like some members of the cult showed up in a vehicle, and they were gonna go check on the building that we were in, and they spotted me lingering outside, and I was like, oh well, I guess that means that the gig's up, they caught us, but it's gonna take you guys a little bit of time to catch me, because you have to actually like walk through the building. You can't do what I can do, and I flew up and I like jumped over the side of the building and then like warped through the wall into the room where my friends were, and they were dealing with like a weird puzzle at that point. The puzzle was trying to like tell them to come up with flaws in Superman's character or something. Um, and then the dream kind of ended after like they were struggling to figure out like what was wrong with him. Did they not develop him well enough? Were they like did they miss out on certain character like I don't know. They were struggling to come up with a solution to that puzzle that was given to them in that cult room. But yeah, it kind of ended after that, and like I said, I'm not completely certain that the last half of the dream had as much of a specific meaning as the first half of the dream. But sometimes I do think that when I'm confronted with like authority figures trying to stop me from being somewhere in a dream, it's like more literal than metaphorical, as in angels and I really are kind of infiltrating the minds of demonic entities to deconstruct their schemes, and they'll literally kick us out of their energetic architecture locations if they catch us. But it's hard to say. So I mean, the main point that I got was, mankind needs to be really serious and take a serious look at all the repercussions of this surveillance technology that currently exists and that's getting better at every moment. And we need to stop trying to like be preoccupied with all of the like nonsense, slippery drama that we're fighting each other over and we've been squabbling over for a long time, and just kind of figure out and focus on how to move forward together. So yeah, that was the vision that I just got last night.